Sonic Generations Chapter 3, Metropolis. And I gotta say, I've been doing pretty good so far. I mean, a lot of times in these big old crossovers of things I like, unless they're the Hasbroverse, I usually get mad or pissed off because somehow the writing will insult one of the main six, or will turn the main six into a bunch of pussies, or will will make it somehow really, really stupid, or bring out a bad plot point. I mean, Hasbroverse doesn't do that. It's had a perfect 10 out of 10 record. But have you ever noticed that happens? But hey, I'm doing good. I'm pretty good. Absolutely nothing can ruin this. I only hope I didn't threaten myself. I mean, right now, the only thing I'm a little annoyed at is that the past 2 chapters have felt nothing like but a repeat of Sonic Generations. And I do love that game. But I own it. I've already beaten it. I'm getting this close to practically seeing if I could actually S-rank every bonus base stage. But, hey, minor nitpick. Sonic and Rainbow Dash stood in front of the Ponyville Library, Sonic holding the shrunken-down warp ring in his left hand. The frozen forms of Tails and Twilight were behind him, standing in front of the library's open door, and their backs to each other as Rainbow Dash surveyed the scene before them. As he stuttered, You weren't kidding, Sonic. The library's still here, but it's like the rest of the town doesn't exist now. Sonic placed his right hand on her shoulder and said, I know this is a tough thing for you to see, Rainbow, but don't worry. We'll find a way to get Ponyville and our friends back. Rainbow looked back at him and asked, Get them back? How are we supposed to do that? Sonic looked away and muttered, Of course you have to ask that right away. He then looked back at her and said, Look, just because that creature's messed with everything doesn't mean the effects aren't irreversible. There has to be some kind of connection between that place we were just in and the portal being here in your friend's library. So, the blue hedgehog was unable to finish the sentence as the simmering sound caused attention. He turned to look back at the library. Rainbow Dash turned to look too. They could see a sparkling white wave beginning to creep out at the base of the library, the tree's natural color returning wherever the wave had passed over. As they watched, both the exterior and interior of the library slowly regained its natural coloring until every tree on the leaf on the tree was green again. Sonic and Rainbow walked up to the front of the library, Rainbow saying, Wow, how did that happen? Sonic shrugged. Maybe I was right. Well, somewhat anyway. He looked back at Tails and he added, Now if only that would happen to you two, too. Suddenly, it did happen. Both Sonic and Rainbow ran in front of Tails and Twilight as a white, sparkling wave began creeping up the bodies of the later two. The wave made the white vanish as it crept higher, Tails' fur turning into its natural yellow color, while Twilight's coat, horn, and mane returned to their natural colors. They both blinked before beginning to move. Both of them realized they were back to normal. Tails turned to Sonic and said, Thanks, Sonic! I thought I was dead. Floating without a body in a black limbo. I'll have nightmares for weeks. You think that's something? Wait until the cyberspace levels. Behind the Twilight sighed, My thoughts exactly. That was so creepy. Looking up at Rainbow Dash, he smiled. Thanks for saving me, Rainbow. She then realized what she had said before that whirled around as Tails did the same. They both stared at each other for a minute, both of them trying to make sure they were really seeing what they thought they were. Rainbow Dash eventually broke the silence. Hey Twilight and, Tails, right? Why are you two just looking at each other? Twilight turned her head to look at the cyan mare while Tails looked at the unicorn's shoulder at her. Twilight soon turned around completely, while Tails turned back to Sonic. Rainbow. Sonic? What's going on here? They both asked at the same time. Rainbow Dash looked back at Twilight blankly for a moment before she remembered. Oh, right, you weren't there when we, Sonic nodded. Right, explanations and all that. He gestured towards inside the library and said, This could take a bit, so why don't we go inside, sit down, and start talking about this? Calmly and slowly, that is. Tails and Twilight both looked down for a moment. Twilight doing so a little cautiously, before nodding and walking through the library's front door. Rainbow and Sonic following them inside. Sonic grabbed the doorknob and pulled the door closed, while Twilight used her magic to summon several coasters down to the library's ground floor. One long descriptive explanation later. Okay, so let's recap. Just to make sure me and Tails understand everything. After that creature took us all away, Rainbow Dash woke up in this Green Hill place. Sonic, meanwhile, woke up outside the library, which was completely white, after his friends got taken away by the same thing during a friendly gathering. Found a portal to the Green Hill area in the basement. You two ran into each other, worked out your differences, and found the two of us and brought us back here, where we were brought back. Is that everything? Twilight asked. Not quite, Twilight. You didn't mention all the robots or badness or whatever that I took out, Rainbow Dash said proudly. Twilight deadpan. I didn't forget them, Rainbow Dash. I was trying to recap of a short version of the story. Rainbow complained, but that means you skipped over all the good parts! Twilight said, well, we're caught up now, Rainbow Dash, and I totally wish I could have seen you in Sonic in action. Tails added, it must have been awesome! Rainbow grinned, it was. In fact, it was totally awesome. Sonic, all he did with what he had been doing, due to Rainbow Dash wanting to tell the story, turned to look at Tails and asked, did that place seem awfully familiar, Tails? The Fox Boy shrugged. Not to me, Sonic. Standing up, he walked over to one of the library windows as he said, but it looks like something sucked all the life and color out of this place. Wonder how much of Equestria was hit, or if Ponyville was the only place where that thing happened. Twilight said, hard to say. Nothing knocked out Rainbow Dash, and until a little while ago, I was floating around just like you were. The whole thing really is strange. Seeing Rainbow Dash looked at Sonic, who stood up and was currently looking at some of the book on the shelves, and he said, well, I'm sorry if I'm a little misinformed about what kind of adventures you and friends get into, Twilight, but what's happening right now doesn't seem all that strange. Twilight raised an eyebrow. Really? Sonic turned back to look at her and nodded. Sure! No stranger to rescuing genies in magic books or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park. Rainbow Dash asked, are you serious? Sonic shrugged. Yeah, sound hard to believe? I know you got no reason to believe me, but I've been through all kind of that before. Right now, though, I'm more concerned about finding out everyone who was taken. Well, Twilight and Rainbow Dash nodded in agreement. After a moment, Tails called back to him. You guys, come look at this! Sonic turned and walked over to him, while Twilight and Rainbow stood up and did the same. When they were all standing behind a two-tailed fox, he pointed out the window. It's that Ponyville? Both Twilight and Rainbow peered out the window. Twilight stood saying, yes, but why are all the houses and everything white? Did the same thing happen to the whole town? Rainbow Dash said, not only that, but for here it looks like some of the buildings are missing. How come only part of Ponyville's repaired? Sonic said, well, we're not going to find any answers just standing around here. Come on, we better check out the town. Tails, Twilight, and Rainbow Dash all nodded and exited the library. Sonic stepping out first with Rainbow, and Tails following him. Twilight walked out last, using her magic to close the door behind her. The four of them then ran towards Ponyville. Rainbow Dash opted to stay on the ground for now. I thought it was likely a couple of minutes, since they weren't sure there was any time in this white world. The four of them walked over a bridge and approached the town hall. Hey, we better make sure the mayor's okay, Rainbow said. Everyone nodded and walked up the steps at the front, opening the doors and stepping inside. Glancing around the entrance, Sonic asked, suppose the mayor's office is upstairs? Twilight nodded. Yeah, I normally don't like to party like this, but this is an emergency. Come on. She led the way to the upper levels of the town hall. Sonic is probably getting annoyed that everybody's moving at a walking speed. Using your magic to open the double doors leading to the mayor's office. As soon as the doors opened all the way, she saw the mayor standing in the middle of the room, frozen, just like Twilight and Tails had been. Rainbow Dash immediately flew over to her and groaned. Oh no, even the mayor's been frozen. Twilight trotted alongside her and said, it's alright, Rainbow Dash. You and Sonic managed to get me and Tails back to normal. I'm sure we could do the same for the mayor. Sonic and Tails began to look around the office as Rainbow turned to Twilight and said, but I don't even know how he did that. I mean, sure, we found you in that place and brought you back here, but we really didn't do anything else. Was it magic or something? Sonic said there might be some kind of connection between Ponyville and that portal, but that was just a guess. And who knows how many portals there are at Ponyville? Maybe even in Equestria. Sonic called over to the mayors, causing them to turn their heads towards him as he said, hey ladies, over here! He and Tails were standing next to a sizable bookcase. The duo nodded to each other and started to push it. After a few feet, they stopped pushing and turned to look at the wall. Twilight and Rainbow quickly saw why he had done that. And the wall, right behind where the bookcase had been, was a narrow portal. "Whoa, talk about lucky," Rainbow grinned. "Yeah," Tails nodded. There were 2 ponies that walked over to Sonic and Tails as they stood around the portal, peering into it. It displayed images of gears, pistons, and large wheels. "Oh no," Twilight asked. "So, are we going in there?" No, you don't want that level! You don't want that level! Sonic said, "Until we know better, we're gonna have to believe that checking out these portals will help restore your town and the ponies in it to normal. And who knows, we might find some of our missing friends in there." Rainbow nodded. "Good enough for me." She then led for it, going through the portal. Sonic leapt in after her, Tails and Twilight soon following them in. Once her hose touched the ground, Twilight looked up and saw Tails, Sonic, and Rainbow Dash in front of her, all of them landing on their hose and feet as well. Glancing around, she spoke. This is probably a silly question, but where are we?" Sonic took a sniff at gag. "Ugh, not someplace you want to live if you like to breathe properly." Looking off in the distance, he said, "No wonder." He raised his right hand and pointed in front of him. "Look at all those smokestacks and steel buildings. We must have landed in a city or something." Tails took a few steps forward and looked down. "Well, it looks like we landed on top of one of the buildings. Look how far down the ground is." Sonic, Twilight, and Rainbow Dash walked up to him and looked down over the edge of the building. They immediately agreed with Tails. They were high up. Rainbow Dash looked up and asked, "Do you guys actually live in a place like this?" Sonic replied, "We don't, thankfully. Of course, if it weren't up to a certain mad scientist, this kind of place would be everyone would live in." Twilight looked at him and asked, "Somebody actually thinks this is a good place to live?" Sonic shrugged. "Well, maybe not live exactly. As long as it fits his vision of the world to be like, he could probably care less about what everyone else thinks." Peering down below again, he noticed a skylight pointing to it, saying, "Looks like a good place to start exploring." Twilight asked, "What about the rest of the place?" "I mean, having a good place to start is good and all, but if we're going to find our friends, we might have to search every building here." Rainbow protested, "Twilight, that'll take forever! We don't have time to go around searching every spot in this place." Tails suggested, "Why don't we split up? I'm sure we could cover more ground that way." Twilight said, "Yeah, I suppose that could work. How do you think we should split up, Tails?" The fox replied, "Well, since Sonic and Rainbow Dash are the fastest ones here, you should probably check out what's under that skylight. Meanwhile, you and I can search the city." Rainbow said, "That could work, Tails. Except for one thing. If you wanted to make progress searching in a place this big, you need to be fast or at least keep up with light. And I don't see either skill in either you or Twilight." Before Twilight could say anything, Tails spoke. "Well, actually..." He began to spin his trail and twin namesakes off the ground, lifting up and hovering over everyone's head. Rainbow Dash's jaw dropped at this. "You have a buttcopter?" she exclaimed. Sonic grinned. "With those 2 tails, he sure can. He may be a fox, but he's one of the best flyers I know." Twilight smiled. "Wow, I wonder if both of those appendages did something special together." Seeing them blush as she had, "To be honest, I first thought, well..." Tails flew over to her and landed in front of her before saying, "That's okay, Twilight. I'm not mad at you would think that before I met Sonic, people would actually make fun of me for having 2 tails. Yeah, 2 foxes would pull on them. Thinking they're unusual is something completely different, comparatively anyway." The lavender unicorn smiled in relief at that. Sonic turned to Rainbow Dash and asked, "So, is it okay for Tails and Twilight to stick together and look around?" Rainbow looked at him and dumbly replied, "Sure. As long as you're sure you'll be okay together." Sonic nodded. "Tails is a lot more capable than he might look, and I have faith that Twilight's full of surprises as well." Twilight said, "Well, I don't know about that, Sonic, but I'll do what I can. Wait, if we're going to be swinging up, we should meet somewhere before." Sonic scanned the cityscape before his eyes, keen to rest on a building in the distance. He pointed to it and said, "There, we'll meet up there, either inside or out front. Let's shoot for 10 minutes, half an hour, tops. Does that sound reasonable?" Twilight nodded, "Sure." Sonic nodded back. "Good. Oh yeah." He turned to Tails and grazed into his quills, pulling out the warp ring. He held it out towards Tails and said, "Here, you hold on to this, buddy. I don't want to accidentally drop it somewhere." Tails took it, gave a salute. "You can count on me, Sonic." Sonic replied, "I already know I can count on you." He then turned to Rainbow Dash and asked, "Ready?" When the Pegasus nodded, he said, "Here we go!" He leapt off the edge of the building, both Twilight and Rainbow Dash's eyes widening at the sudden pulse of action. Rainbow Dash immediately dove off the building after him, while Tails and Twilight moved to the edge to watch. Sonic's freefall was cut short after a minute when his feet came into contact with the building. He ran straight down to the side, the ground rushing up to meet him. Before reaching the bottom, he curled up into a ball and shot down towards the skylight, making a hole in it. He then landed on the ground below the window, crouching down on one knee after landing. Rainbow Dash appeared above him a moment later and said, "That was really crazy, you know." Sonic stood up and said, "I know. I just like doing stuff like that." Under a moment, Rainbow grinned. "This is gonna be fun, isn't it?" Sonic grinned back. "You know it. Let's roll." With that, they took off, heading into the depths of the city. Up on the roof, Twilight turned to Tails and asked, "Is he gonna be okay?" Tails to her and nodded. "Sonic does that stuff all the time. You'll get used to it." Twilight twin Tails around. He lifted off the ground and said, "Here, give me your hooves." Twilight slowly held her legs up, and Tails wrapped his hands around her hooves, just past her horseshoes. He then flew off the building while carrying Twilight, angling down to fly closer to the ground. Later. "Look out, Twilight!" Tails exclaimed, swinging his twin's namesakes around and making an aerial dash for the other unicorn. His hands coming in contact with the back of her neck and pushing her forward, just in time to avoid a spike to keep flying towards her. "Well, thanks, Tails," she breathed. After Tails let go and moved to stand in front of her, she looked back and asked, "Where do these astronaut things keep coming from?" Tails glanced to the other direction and sighed. "I have no idea. They seem to pop up when you least expect them to." He looked up at a nearby building and said, "Let's see if there's anything in there." Twilight looked up at the building and nodded, following behind Tails. As soon as they stepped inside, they were greeted by an unwelcoming sight. 3 slicer badniks. "Oh no," Tails groaned as he pulled her claws back. Twilight growled as he sent the claws flying at him. "Not gonna go through that again!" Her horn lit up, surrounded by her magenta aura. The same aura appeared around the claws and caused them to slow down in midair. After fighting with them for a moment, Twilight managed to get to the stop and change direction, flying back and slicing through the badniks they belonged to. "Trust me, those things also come from my deepest powers of my hate. There's a reason why I hate getting to this level on Sonic 2! Tails turned back to her and said, "Wow, that was great, Twilight!" Mira turned to him and blessed. Thanks, Tails. I didn't go too far, did I?" Tails shook his head. "Nope. You seen how hard it is to avoid those claws once they're launched. Those things deserve to get a taste of their own medicine." Twilight replied, "Okay, if you say so." So he then started walking around the building's interior. Looking around, it appeared to be some kind of warehouse, where were lots of boxes stacked up, many of them unlabeled. After looking around for several minutes, Twilight made her way back towards the entrance. As he came around the stacks, he said, "There's nothing in here. Maybe we should head for that building. Sonic said to meet up." She noticed Tails was examining the raiment of slice badniks and asked, "What are you doing?" Without looking up, Tails replied, "I've been checking out all the badniks we've seen so far. They're all really old models. It's been a long time since I've seen some of these." Picking up a microchip, he had, "But the Eternals are pretty interesting. They could be useful for something. I just need a minute or two to see what's left here, then we can keep going." Although confused, Twilight replied, "All right then." So he then looked up to the side and murmured, "I hope Rainbow Dash and Sonic are okay." Meanwhile, underneath the city, Sonic looked over a pit of molten metal, narrowly avoiding the claws of a shellcracker badnik, while Rainbow Dash flew after him. Landing on the other side, Sonic leapt over the claw of another shellcracker and used his right hand to propel himself over it. Seeing her chance, Rainbow Dash flew toward it at high speed, smashing right through it. She laughed as he followed Sonic through a spinning meshwork dynamo. "This place is a blast, isn't it?" Sonic, while running inside the dynamo, replied, "Aside from near-death experiences and close shaves with badniks, guess this place isn't too bad." Coming out the other end of the dynamo on top of it, before the flip and landed on his feet. Skidding to a hole in the ground, he said, "Not that I'm into the whole life-consuming industrial wasteland thing, but you know what I mean." Rainbow Dash looked up and said, "Man, this place is a lot bigger than I thought it'd be. Must still be a ton of badniks right here to smash. Flapping her wings, she started to fly up a shaft. Dash! Wait! Did I really just say that? Sonic called. It was too late. As soon as the Sonic Pegasus reached the top of the shaft, she was gone in a flash of rainbow. Sonic sighed to himself. Oh boy. I better catch that pony before she gets herself hurt. He ran over to the large nut around a spiral and went up the shaft and hopped on it, using his speed to spin it around and used the elevator to get up the shaft. Sonic continued to crawl through the city while looking for Rainbow Dash, dodging badniks and making use of parts of the city to move forward. Eventually he heard Rainbow Pegasus loud shout on the other side of the vent. He dashed towards it, curling up into a ball, calling, "Hang on, Rainbow Dash, I'm coming!" After breaking through the covering, he uncurled the key to a stop. He saw Rainbow Dash a short distance in front of him, surrounded by balloons that looked like Dr. Eggman in his Eggmobile. Wasting no time, Sonic ran towards Rainbow, leaped up, curled into a ball, shot a series of quick homing attacks, easily popping the balloons. Rainbow Dash plopped down on the floor after Sonic landed and wiped her forehead with a hoof. Thanks, Sonic. Couldn't get those things to pop. I know! Sonic walked over to her and helped her up, saying, "Well, I'm glad you're okay. Just don't go flying off that again. I know you're excited to have some fun, but believe me, but it's sometimes better to curb that Okay! Ryder! You and I are going to have a long talk about my dialogue in this fic." Rainbow Dash blushed. "Yeah, I get it. I guess I was I guess I wasn't thinking it through, huh?" Sonic grinned. "Not really. Look, you're still doing your best to hang in there. Why'd you shout anyway?" Rainbow replied, "Well, they managed to get on top of me. Surprised about how much pressure it put on me. Glad I managed to get it off." Sonic nodded. "Yeah. Well, now on, let's try to stick together in most dangerous places like this, alright?" Rainbow nodded and he shook on it. Suddenly, they heard a familiar voice call, "Sonic!" Sonic and Rainbow Dash turned to see Tails flying towards them while carrying Twilight. The Elaborate Unicorn calling, "Rainbow Dash!" Rainbow called, "Hey, Twilight!" Sonic waved, "Tails!" The fox let the Twilight go once they were a little closer to the two, the lavender mare landing on her hooves. She walked over to him as Tails landed, saying, "Looks like we managed to catch up with you after all. Are you both okay?" Both Sonic and Rainbow Dash nodded in response. Tails came over to the group and addressed Sonic. "We've been in the city before, haven't we? Sure feels familiar anyway. All these dynamos, pumping pistons." They looked at the side and added, "Not to mention all the annoying badniks that keep popping up everywhere." Sonic replied, "You're right, Tails. This place is giving me deja vu, though not necessarily in a good way." Tails giggled and then said, "We didn't find anyone or anything in the city. How about you two?" Sonic shrugged. "Not really. Since Tails mentioned all the badniks around here, guessing you know what these things are like." Twilight gave a nod in response. Rainbow Dash was about to say something, but was caught off when Tails pointed towards a nearby window and asked, "Sonic, is that a castle over there?" Sonic looked where he was pointing. Near the window was a pure large capsule, the kind that Eggman used to store small animals. "I think it is, Tails. Let's see what's inside," he said, running over to it. Tails, Twilight, and Rainbow Dash started to walk over as he leapt up and pressed down on the button on top of it. As soon as he did, the sides of the capsule broke off. A small white cloud escaped from within. As soon as the cloud cleared, everyone could see inside this capsule, which contained two figures. Twilight gasped at the sight of a baby dragon and ran over to the capsule. She placed her hose on the shoulders of the baby dragon and shook him, exclaiming, "Spike! Spike!" Sonic bent down, leaning over the capsule, asking, "Spike? You mean the little dragon you and Dash mentioned?" Twilight looked up and said, "Yes!" She then looked down at the baby dragon, whose face was frozen in a look of fear. Shook him again. She said, "He's frozen, just like the mayor was." Sonic glanced down and said, "Not to mention like you and Tails were." Tails, who was standing on Twilight's right side, while Rainbow Dash on her left, added, "Don't forget Amy. She's in here too." Sonic peered down on the other side of the capsule and saw he was right. "Oh, right," he muttered. Rainbow Dash placed her hose on Twilight's shoulders and pulled her back away from Spike, saying, "Twilight, calm down. Look, you and Tails were restored when we brought you back to Ponyville. You'll probably restore Spike and Amy the same way. Now stop shaking them already!" Sonic stood up and leapt down from the castle, then said, "Rainbow's right, Twilight. I don't know how it worked, but bringing you back to Ponyville somehow restored you and Tails to normal. No reason to think that Spike and Amy wouldn't be restored too." Twilight sighed. You're right. You're both right. Just, unless there's anything else we need to do, I'd like to leave this place." Sonic nodded. "Same here." He turned to Tails. Tails, you still got the warp ring? The fox kicked fist into his tails and after a moment, pulled the ring out. He nodded. Right here. Let's go. He tossed it aside, the ring becoming way bigger with a vroom. Tails in turn went over to help Sonic get Amy out of the capsule. And they both stepped through the warp ring, Twilight immediately following them. Rainbow Dash turned to take one last look at Metropolis Zone and muttered, Someplace gotta have a twisted mind to think this is a great place to live. If I ever meet the guy who built this place, I'm gonna give him a good bunch of the head for thinking that. She then turned and left through the ring, which disappeared as she went through it. A second later, Rainbow found herself standing near Sonic, Talia, and Tails out in front of Town Hall. Tails was holding a shrunken warp ring. Sonic had his hand on Amy's shoulder. Twilight was still clutching Spike with her right foreleg. They walked over the stairs leading up to the front doors, and both Spike and Amy outside the stairs. Twilight asked, So what happens now? Sonic replied, Just give it a minute. If it's going to happen, it shouldn't take long. Sure enough, not long after that, a white sparkling wave creeped up the base of Town Hall, restoring to its normal appearance. A second later, a similar wave began to creep up Spike's body. Once he was restored, his eyes looked around, then looked his body over, even flexing his muscles. Twilight smiled at the familiar behavior of her number one assistant. Spike! She exclaimed. The baby dragon looked up at her and said, Twilight! He lifted up and wrapped his arms around her neck. As Rainbow Dash came over. Oh man, I'm glad to see you! You wouldn't believe the creepy experience I just went through. Twilight went back, hugged him back and said, Actually, I probably would, if it's anything like I went through earlier. And he spoke, Yeah, Twilight got dust of it too. Anyway, good to have you back, Spike. The three of them looked over at Sonic and Tails, who were standing in front of him now, restored Amy, as he's finished spinning in place. The pink-head Sonic then said, You saved me, Sonic. I was afraid I'd never be able to flirt with you again. Sonic sighed to himself. Sonic Frontiers ruined me. True. I mean, before I'd be making fun of Amy for this. I'd be groaning and moaning. But now I'm groaning for a different reason. I'm groaning because this is the reason why I began to hate Amy, Son Amy Fix so much. This is the reason why I grew annoyed with Amy so much. People decided to ignore all the stuff that happened in Adventure and all that and throw that out the window just purely for Amy loves Sonic. Rather than, giving her character. Sonic sighed to himself as he turned, pressed his right hand against his head. Sinking his head, Tails looked down sympathetically. Spike turned his head up to Twilight and asked, Twilight, what's going on here? Before she could reply, every pony fenced as they heard the mayor scream, What has happened to Bunnyfin? And where did this hole in the wall come from? Rainbow Dash grinned weakly. Sound like the mayor's back to normal too. Twilight nodded and said, Guess we better go explain the situation to her as well.